what we receive by taking shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this gives us eternal benefit. We are very, very grateful to all of you for investing your precious time to come here and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. I want to thank Mataji for wonderful, she sang Braj Bhajan. It was really nice, and thank you, Mataji. Unknown talents in our congregation sometimes just like that. So thank you, Mataji, for that wonderful bhajan, Srimati, glorifying Srimati Radharani. Incidentally, some of you may notice one of my eyes is looking little smaller. It's because I have recovered from sore eyes. I had sore eyes both of last week, but अभी थोड़ा ठीक हो गया है. But क्योंकि ये आँख खुली खुलता नहीं है इसको. Don't think I still have sore eyes. It's gone. Okay, so वो चिंता मत करो आप लोग. So, so last time we have been discussing from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we were discussing about Devahuti, Mother Devahuti, and her wonderful qualities as a wife, right? So she's the daughter of the of Manu, of Swayambhu Manu, who is the king of the universe, practically. So she is his daughter, but she is married to Kardama Muni, who is a simple ascetic living, a devotee living in the forest with no residence, nothing. But still, with great love, with great chastity, with great intimacy, she served him. He is doing his devotional life, his devotional service, and she does everything quietly, no questions asked. She's doing. She served him, but for a long time by serving others, she loses her youth, she loses her luster, her beauty is gone. And when the marriage was fixed, it was agreed that Kardama Muni, he had promised her father that now after we have children, I have been blessed by Lord Vishnu that we'll have 9 daughters and 1 son. And then once they are born, then I will take sannyas and I will leave. So till then, I'm happy to be with your daughter. So she reminds him कि आपने कहा था बच्चे when can we so he looks at her. First time he really looks at her. Sometimes this happens, husbands would even look at their wives. ये भी एक problem है कि husband अपनी wife को देखते ही नहीं कभी. उनको लगता है कि यार ठीक है कर रही है, she's happy, मैं क्यों देखूं? And then when they really looked, he looked and he saw that she has become withered completely. She's like emaciated because of serving him. She's not taken care of her own body. So he renews her body and with his yogic powers, and with the same yogic powers, he creates a flying palace. So the whole description was there last time. We didn't go into too much detail. We did describe that this palace was fully bedecked with jewels and everything was there, all facilities for enjoyment. And they go in that palace, they circumnavigate the whole universe in that flying palace. Okay, and they enjoy for many, many years. And finally, they have 9 daughters. After 9 daughters are born, Kardama says, Hare Krishna, so I had promised time for me to go. And then we discussed the main purpose of that last time's lecture was the name of the chapter was Devahuti's lamentation. So, what is her lamentation? Initially, she has told her husband, ki, I got married to you, I want a child. But that is not her lamentation. Her lamentation is that I had the association of a pure devotee, a sadhu like you, but I wasted my time just enjoying with you. I didn't really get the purpose of human life. So that is her lamentation. So she laments on a loss of having got entangled in sense gratification despite having the association of a pure devotee. So it's a wonderful thought, that what do we lament for? अरे यार इंडिया हार गया, अरे यार मेरा एफडी का इंटरेस्ट रेट गिर गया, अरे यार मेरा शेयर का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है म्यूचुअल फंड सब्जेक्ट टू मार्केट रिस्क, वो मार्केट रिस्क ने मेरे म्यूचुअल फंड को खा लिया, अरे यार मेरे बच्चे ऐसे क्यों हैं, अरे मेरे बच्चे ऐसे क्यों नहीं है, अरे मेरी वाइफ ऐसे क्यों है, अरे मेरी वाइफ ऐसे क्यों नहीं है. We are lamenting all the time for materialistic things. Her lamentation is that I had the opportunity to become a devotee, to become a pure devotee in your association, but I just wasted my whole certification, right? So now we continue from there in this chapter. So in this chapter, first Karna Muni, when he hears this, first he encourages Devahuti. He encourages her. He tells her that, oh Devi, do not be agitated. And okay, we have spent time like this. That's all right. But he reminds her that the Supreme Lord had given me a blessing, that He Himself is going to be born as my son. Meaning, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to incarnate through your womb. How would we like that? How would the ladies over here like him? The Supreme Lord is born through your womb. And those who are even 50, 60 years old now wouldn't mind having one more. Na? Ek aur ho jayega, the Lord is incarnating. But yeah, we'll discuss this. This is not an ordinary thing. ये मतलब ऐसा कोई साधारण ऐसे ही होता है कि चलो यार इसे भागवत में लिखा है तो मेरे मुंह से भी भगवान आ सकता है क्या? Is it possible that Lord can incarnate from my womb also? We'll discuss. So he encourages her, the Lord can incarnate, and more importantly, he tells her to prepare yourself. Prepare your consciousness for the arrival of the Lord. Very soon, in less, I think, about a month or so, we are going to be celebrating Sri Krishna Janmashtami in HPNE. So it's a big festival, and many of you might have attended over the years. We're going to be celebrating 10th, 9th September. So, but we are celebrating on 10th. So, 7th. हम लोग का कब ये 9th को है. So 9th September, just about a month from now. So if the Lord is going to appear, you can't just sit there and कि चला आने दो देखी जाएगी. There's a lot of preparation that goes, no, to welcome the Lord. So he tells her how to prepare herself. So there's a lesson in it for all mothers or aspiring mothers or even aspiring fathers. He says that prepare yourself first with great faith. Why does he say faith? Anyone? Why does he say prepare yourself with great faith? Any idea? Hmm? Yeah, when you have faith, there is no doubt. So, what faith is she having right now? In this particular situation, what is he asking her to have faith in? क्या चीज का faith रखने बोल रहा हूँ? Krishna consciousness, safe answer. But anything else? What is it that he's asked her to having faith in? Huh? Lord will come. He has just told her, Lord is going to incarnate in your womb. For a woman, that's a very big thing. कोई बोलेगा कि भगवान आपके कोख में जन्म लेने वाला है. And अगर आपको कोई आके बोलेगा भगवान अभी आप घर जाएंगे ना आपके घर पे भगवान वेट कर रहे हैं. बोले हाँ हाँ प्राइम मिनिस्टर उनके साथ ही आए हुए हैं. We will not believe. We don't have faith. Actually, we don't have faith. Though we read so much Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, ऐसे बहुत सारे वर्सेस पार्ट है ऐसे पट 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 सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्ता सूत्र ज्ञान नमोना चलो ना फटाफट सब वर्सेस बोल पाते हैं लेकिन हमें फेथ नहीं है. We don't have full faith. Lord is residing in our heart. He's telling us in the Gita. He's telling us I am residing in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham. But we don't have faith. If we had faith, how would we behave? We think if you knew that the Lord is actually residing in my heart, when I chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. I'm chanting this holy name, the Lord is present along with that holy name. It is not different. It is like associating with Krishna. ये शास्त्र में लिखा गया है. हमारे आचार्यों ने ही हमें बताया है. We have this experience, but still we don't have faith. That's our situation. So first he tells us have faith, with great faith, through sensory control. He tells her that maintain your sense control also. Not that okay, God is coming, very good, let him come. मैं जो मजे मार रही हूँ वही continue करती हूँ. No, he says maintain sensory control. So this is a very important thing. We will discuss this in the very next point. So I'll come back to this. That sensory control for a mother is very important, especially when she is carrying a child. So I'll tell my personal story also, and what is spoken by Lord Kapila later. Then he says religious observances. He says follow religious observances, meaning he's saying that जो भी religious observances है, like in Krishna consciousness, we are fortunate, we are connected with ISKCON. ISKCON gives a very systematic calendar. एक पूरा वैष्णव कैलेंडर करके ही है, जिसमें मतलब from गौर पूर्णिमा to next गौर पूर्णिमा, everything, every second day there is something. Some Acharya's appearance day, some avatar appearance day or disappearance day of some Acharya, something or the other is always there. So activities are there throughout. Ekadashi comes every 15 days. We have Ekadashi coming now on Saturday, coming Saturday. Ekadashi comes every 15 days. Janmashtami. So we have Gaur Purnima, then we have Ram Navami, then we have Narsingh Chaturdashi, then we have, कुछ ना कुछ चालू रहता है. अभी पुरुषोत्तम मास चल रहा है. Special, the special. Again, hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam in Purushottam Mass is another level of fortune, So we have Purushottam Mass going on. Then after that, we'll have Balram Jayanti, we will have Krishna Janmashtami, we'll have Radhashtami, then we'll have Sharad Purnima, then we'll have ऐसे चलते रहते साल भर कुछ ना कुछ religious observances का कोई मान. You may wonder कि इसकी जरूरत क्या है? तो साल भर तुम लोग चैन से बैठने नहीं देते, हाँ? जब भी देखो फास्टिंग, हाँ? आए दिन फास्टिंग करते रहते हैं हम लोग. And ISKCON में fasting मतलब it is fasting without water basically. So if you are fasting till noon, it means no water till noon. पानी भी नहीं पीना, निर्जल है. ISKCON में fasting मतलब निर्जल. यार ISKCON वाले क्या मतलब क्या सोच के काम करते हैं? What is the logic? But that's the point. The beauty is when we are doing these things, we may feel it is a ritual. But that austerity that we are performing, why we are performing, for pleasure of the Lord. We are not doing to show off. हम लोग को show off नहीं करने हैं कि पता है ना आज एकादशी है. हाँ तो एकादशी तो मैं भी follow करता हूँ. मैं एकादशी का प्रसाद भी नहीं खाता. निर्जल करता हूँ. पता है आपको? So we are so proud कि हम लोग निर्जल करते तो हम लोग का घमंड बन जाता. That is foolishness. Ideally, the more we progress in Krishna consciousness, the humbler we should become. But religious observances are very important because they purify us. They remind us of the Lord. Whenever there is a festival, every festival is connected to the Lord, to the Lord's pastimes. They remind us of the Lord. He tells her to follow do austerities, and he says gifts in charity. He says give gifts in charity. ये भी बोलते हैं. Meaning for a Garbhavati, it is also important to give charity. So, as it will be revealed by Lord Kapila, her son, who is the Supreme Lord who is incarnating as a son, Lord Kapila is going to reveal going forward that the consciousness as well as the health of the child is affected by the spiritual and material activities of the mother. So when the child is being held in the womb by the mother, the mother carries a great responsibility. बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है वो. Pregnancy तो it is obviously it is a big responsibility even by itself. But if you look at it from this point of view, the consciousness of the child is affected by the activities of the mother. This is a fact. We have seen this enough amount of times. हमारे ISKCON में भी हम लोगों ने बहुत देखा है. That mothers, if they are doing certain activities, how their children come. Like, I'll tell my personal story also. So when my sister, my elder sister, her initiated name is Radharani Devi Dati. So she was born 2 years before me, and she was born 4 years after marriage. So my parents, I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell again. My parents got married in 1967. My mother had two miscarriages. I think one was during that Koina earthquake. So she had two miscarriages and they were not conceiving. So they had one person called they had a person called Nagesh Rao, who was like a friend, philosopher, and guide for them. So he used to give them spiritual guidance. He used to teach them, what how to follow. They started doing this Lalita Stotra Shatanamavali, 108 names of Devi Lalita. That uska kumkum archan karke every day they would do morning evening for 21 years they did like this. So he told them you start doing this. So they started in 1967, 68. They started doing this. My parents and but no child was being born. So finally, my mother went to him with frustration कि क्या मतलब बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है. He said, you don't worry, you will have a child. By you will have a child. He was also an astrologer, so he knew. So you will have a child by so and so time. But he said, once you conceive this child, ये जो खाते हैं ना सब बंद कर दो. क्या खाते हैं? कोई मतलब whatever non-veg and whatever other nonsense you are eating, you please stop that. He said that this child is a special child given to you by the Lord. तो ये बच्चा जब तुम्हारे पेट में है तभी तुम कुछ मत खाओ. Don't eat anything. मतलब don't eat anything non-veg type का, because this is a gift of the Lord to you. You don't deserve, but you have just received like that. So during my sister's pregnancy, whole term my mother didn't eat non-veg. She was very fixed on that. And till date, उसका असर अभी तक है. But when I was born 2 years later, during my term she didn't have any restriction. She ate everything. But my sister's term she didn't. She was very strict about it. So the difference in consciousness was there from day one. My sister, from day one, her consciousness was always pure. उसका नाम ही पवित्र रखा था. Her name was kept as Pavitra. Her consciousness was pure because what the mother does, it has an impact on the consciousness of the child. If the mother eats too much spicy, it's discussed later on. In third canto, Kapil Dev says, the mother eats too much spicy food, then the child suffers in the womb because that spice is entering the bloodstream. The child suffers. Similarly, if the mother, is smoking or drinking or going to discos, of course, I presume the people over here are not like that. But if at all, ऐसा अगर हम लोग कोई गलत काम कर रहे हैं, even हिंदी फिल्म का म्यूजिक एकदम भिंचिक 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 म्यूजिक सुनते रहेंगे पूरा दिन, it affects the consciousness of the child. So what a great responsibility mother carries simply by being pregnant. Huge responsibility, because one whole life. You are creating one whole life. You have the responsibility to facilitate that child's life. What a huge responsibility, right? So, like that. So, he tells her all this. Then he reassures her that your son, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will spread my name and fame. And she had lamented that I have got into this material sense gratification का मेरे को भी लत लग गया, आदत लग गया. I got used to this now. Now how will I come out of this? This hard knot of material existence. Hridaya Granthi it is called. We'll discuss a little bit about that. So he says this sun will remove that Hridaya Granthi of your heart. Because if the Supreme Lord, he will remove the Hridaya Granthi by becoming your son. So now, Srila Prabhupada in the purport makes. So today we are discussing only few words. We are not running forward. As far as Shanti is there, because there are a lot of nice purports, and I wanted to discuss those. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes this point that one may think, अच्छा, if God is coming as the son, ये कैसे समझे? How to understand that God becoming son? See, in our conventional understanding of what we have heard in other religions, in other belief systems, God is God. उसको कोई ऐसा छू भी नहीं सकता. You can't ask any question. You can't say anything. You can't understand what is your relationship with that God. He is God and you are ordinary living entity, which is all right. It is like a At least it is like a first standard. पहला standard तो चालू हुआ कुछ तो, some understanding that there is a supreme father, right? But imagine that the supreme father is becoming son. ये क्या चक्कर है? It's very difficult for most people to appreciate that how father can become son. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the supreme Lord can become son, he can become daughter, he can become shukara, he can become a boar, he can become a half lion, half man. उनको कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. He can become anybody. He can come as the son of a pure devotee. Why? Because he is pleased by their bhakti. So he'll not just become the son of anybody. किसी के भी घर में पैदा नहीं होंगे भगवान. He is not bound by material. See, like for example, if we die, suppose we die, do we know where we will be born next? किसी को पता है कि अगले जन्म में क्या बनने वाले? आपको एक ज्योतिष भी रहेंगे फिर भी आपको मालूम नहीं है कि आप अगले जन्म में क्या बनने वाले हो. Will we be even born as human beings? Will we be born in India, Mumbai, HPCL colony, or will we be born in BPCL colony? Mutation में पैदा हो गया है क्या ये? हाँ? We don't know where we will be born. Will we be born as a dog in HPCL colony? Can anyone say with surety? No, मेरे को पता है मैं किधर पैदा हुआ है. No one knows. No one has an idea, right? So we are controlled by material nature. Material nature decides. She picks ऐसा वो मक्खी जैसा ऐसे उठा के ये शरीर में से दूसरे शरीर में वो डाल देती है. According to what? According to our karma, according to our desires, according to what we desire, and according to what we deserve. Accordingly, we get bodies. We have no control. We can desire. I want to be. ऐसा desire है. I desire to be born in Ambani family. Or I want to be born in Adani. आजकल Adani का flavor ज़्यादा है. I want to be born in Adani. So you will desire, but if you don't deserve, you don't have that karma, you will not be born. Maybe you will be born also, but you will suffer in that family. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. It is not necessary that somebody is born in Ambani family and he is happy. We know there are problems there also, right? So nothing. We have no control over our next birth. But the Lord is not like that. He is not. मतलब उनको ऐसा नहीं कि material nature उठा के उनको किधर भी डाल देगी. No, he decides by his own will where he will be born, when he will born. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever there is glani in dharma, he comes. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Whenever I desire, I come. But the very next verse he says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvaha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti swarjna. He says, my birth and my activities are transcendental. Don't think that this is like, oh, Krishna takes birth. Krishna takes birth. Sin to sin. No, it is not sin to sin. It's different. Okay? So he says that if he is pleased by the bhakti of somebody, he can take birth as the son of a pure devotee. Okay. And the other point about what he tells, Devahuti, that this Hridaya Granthi, the hard knot of material existence, he will cut this for you. So ये hard knot क्या है? Has anyone has any idea what is this hard knot of material existence? किसी ने सुना है? Have you heard this before? Hard knot. What is hard knot? Huh? Remember, what is a hard knot? Huh? हाँ हाँ हाँ. Okay. Okay. So this hard knot, it refers to जैसे आपने अगर कोई एक रोप लिया और वो रोप में कभी कभी लाइक हम लोग जब ये जनेव especially when you buy sacred thread में invariably उसको खोलते टाइम वो पूरा ऐसा हो जाता है. My father is very clear. मेरा इसमें कुछ एक थोड़ा सा विषाद हूँ मैं इसमें ये नॉट खोलने में. So my father is very clear. Whenever he buys anything, he gives it to me. Please open करके दे. Because if he tries to open it, वो पूरा by that time it मतलब वो recognize नहीं हो सकते कि जने में. उतना उनका ये है. तो मेरे को ही देते हैं. But material world में the knots refer to our attachments. We are attached to so many things. We are attached to our own body. I am so good looking. I am so dashing. I am so smart. I am so intelligent. मैं कितना विटी हूँ. मैं कितना अच्छा बात करता हूँ. मेरा आवाज कितना अच्छा है. अमिताभ बच्चन जैसा आवाज है. So you are proud of everything. We are attached to everything about our body. Then we are at, if that is not enough, वो नहीं हुआ, पेट नहीं भरा उससे, we become attached to my wife, my children, my property, my designation, my degrees, my position in society, my position in ISKCON. We become attached to everything. All these are called knots. And knot को जो एकदम कड़क ऐसा कभी-कभी एक वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको रिबन में अगर नॉट बन गया, अगर वो नॉट को खींचा और वो टाइट हो गया, फिर उसको खोलना बड़ा कठिन काम है. वेरी डिफिकल्ट. वंस द नॉट बिकम्स एंड कभी-कभी वो नॉट डबल ट्रिपल गांठ बन जाता है और उसको कहते हैं ब्रह्म गांठ. You might have heard कि लोग कलो बोले के इसमें बोलते हैं ब्रह्म गांठ. मेरे फादर बोलते हैं इसमें ब्रह्म गांठ लगा है कि तू सुल जा. Somehow I have got nice nails, long nails, so I'm able to do it. But it's very tough. Opening that Brahma Gand is very tough. So खड़ा हो गया है वो. फिर finally क्या करना पड़ता है? हमें give up मानना पड़ता है कि इसको भी काटना पड़ेगा. काट के ही निकलेगा नहीं तो नहीं निकलेगा. है ना? So this is what it is. This attachments to the things of this material world, to the people and things of this material world that all of us have. सब में है ये प्रॉब्लम. इस कमरे में कोई नहीं बोल एटलीस्ट मैं तो डेफिनेटली नहीं बोल सकता कि मेरे में ये नॉट्स नहीं है. We all have attachments to things of this material world. We cannot untie these knots. We cannot. Then who will do it? That is why we say the word sadhu. Sadhu means one who cuts. Cuts what? What he cuts? He cuts these knots which are attaching us to the material things of the world. जैसे अगर मुझे ये बॉटल को अपने आप से अटैच करना है, एक रस्सी लूंगा, उसके अराउंड बांधूंगा, एक कड़क नॉट बांधूंगा और इस तरफ एक नॉट बांधूंगा और कड़क करूंगा उसको. If I want to tie myself to this chair, I'll tie with ropes, no, I'll make knots. If I don't make knots, वो रोप निकल जाता है easily. But not बांधना तो कड़क difficult है. कितना खींचा उतना टाइट है कि नहीं? Then what is the way to release? Okay. If we try to cut ourselves, we are not able to do it. We need the association of a sadhu who cuts these knots with the sword of spiritual knowledge. Because these knots, बोलते ना क्या लोहा लोहा को काटता है, बट ये मैटर में लोहा लोहा को नहीं काटता है. You may feel कि लोहा लोहा को काटता है. मटेरियल नॉट है तो मटेरियल नॉलेज से नॉट कट जाएगा. नहीं होता है वो. Doesn't work. We need spiritual knowledge, we need spiritual inputs in order to be able to cut these knots. So he reassures her that your son, who is the supreme person of Godhead, when he comes, he will cut. You are feeling worried, no? कि आप got too much attached to material things. Don't worry, your son will take care. So now Devahuti, it is described. She follows his instructions. She follows the instructions that her husband has given to her, and she starts. Yeah. She follows his instructions and she starts to immediately worship the Supreme Lord. Now, over here, it's a very interesting point that Prabhupada makes. It's a simple observation that Prabhupada is making. He says that her husband is acting like a spiritual master for her. He is acting like a guru for her. He is giving her instruction. You worship the Supreme Lord. You worship with faith, with sensory control, austerity, religious observance. ये सब तुम करो, right? He is given her instruction. So Devahuti does not debate with him. See, आज के तारीख में क्या होता है? Even if your wife is your well-wisher, even if your husband is your well-wisher, because today everyone has become so selfish, everyone only thinks about their own enjoyment. Even if someone, a well-wisher, gives instruction that you do this, what is the first reaction? क्यों? मैं क्यों करूं? तू कर पहले. You do first. Why I should do? You are always giving me instructions like this. कोई काम धंधा नहीं है, सब मेरे पे छोड़ दिया. This is our attitude today. We do not want to receive instruction. The world is training us. Unfortunately, our education system, our corporates where we work, the societies we live in, are teaching us to become independent. स्वतंत्र बनो, अपना पर्सनालिटी खुद बनाओ, अपना करियर खुद बनाओ. You can do anything. छीनो अपना हक, बनो जो बनना है. अच्छी बात है, very nice. Hare Krishna. You are motivating people to rise from their morass. If they have fallen in some very unfortunate situation, when they hear this, they'll be motivated. They'll do good things. अच्छी बात है. But we should not take these things too seriously, because what happens is it makes us feel कि मैं ही सब कुछ हूँ. You imagine, अगर आप जरा एक बार सोचिए आपके मन में, अगर किसी ने आपको बोला, अच्छा आप 10वीं में आपको सिर्फ 50% मिले, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, अभी 11-12 में जो है आप दिन रात पढ़ाई करो, दिन रात को एक कर दो, बर्न द मिडनाइट ऑयल, मेहनत करो, कड़ी मेहनत करो. मेहनत करोगे आपको इंजीनियरिंग का सीट मिलेगा, आपको मेडिकल का सीट मिलेगा. अगर आपने ये बात मान ली, बेचारे आप भी एकदम खुले हो, माँ बाप की बात सुन ली आपने, बड़ा भयंकर तपस्या क्या 2 साल के लिए. हाँ सर, कोई दोस्तों का चेहरा तक नहीं देखा, कोई टीवी वीवी मूवी, कोई कुछ नहीं, फोन भी एकदम डब्बा वाला फोन, एकदम बड़ी तपस्या के साथ 2 साल निकाला. अब 2 साल के बाद आपको एडमिशन मिल गया, सपोज by God's grace, or by you will not think of God's grace. You will think किसने किया. सबको जाके बोलिए किसने किया. मैंने किया. देखो सारे उंगलियां मेरी तरफ हैं. समझ में आई बात. फिर आप जाके सारी दुनिया को यही बांटते फिरोगे. If you work hard, you can achieve. Everything is within your reach. Why do you have to listen to anybody after that? मुझे पता है, मुझे इंजीनियरिंग चाहिए था, आईआईटी में सीट चाहिए था, लो 2 साल मेहनत किया, ये देखो मिल गया आईआईटी बॉम्बे कंप्यूटर साइंस. I have arrived in life. उसके बाद फर्स्ट ईयर, सेकंड ईयर, थर्ड ईयर, फोर्थ ईयर, आपको लगता है आप किसी की बात सुनोगे? You will be thinking कि अरे I know what to do now. बस कड़ी मेहनत करो, सब हो जाएगा अपना. And then when you struggle, आईआईटी में जाके देखते हो कि सब मेरे जैसे ही, सब एकदम भयंकर गधा मजूरी वाले, सब भयंकर इंटेलिजेंट है, सब मेरे से ज्यादा इंटेलिजेंट है. And then suddenly you start coming last in class. आदमी डिप्रेशन में चला जाता है. अरे मैं तो कितना मेहनत कर रहा हूँ, फिर भी मैं पास कर रहा हूँ. I am failing in the exam because he has learned to depend on only himself. At that time someone couldn't tell him कि अरे तू एक काम कर, तू खाली खुद से पढ़ाई मत कर, ये स्टडी ग्रुप है, स्टडी ग्रुप में बैठना, इनके साथ बैठ, साथ में बैठ के पढ़ाई करो, तुम्हारे डाउट्स भी क्लियर हो जाएंगे, तुम्हारा कंसेप्ट भी स्ट्रांग हो जाएगा, रिवीजन हो जाएगा. मैं ना आई एम सोल इंडिपेंडेंट थिंकर. मेरे को किसी की जरूरत नहीं है, किसी की जरूरत. दिस इज हाउ सोसाइटी इन्फ्लुएंसेस अस. This is how our experiences influence us to not listen to anybody. मुझे किसी की भी सुनने की आदत नहीं है और जरूरत भी नहीं. So how, this is how our life is today. But here you see Devahuti, when her husband tells her that you follow these instructions, you do these things, she doesn't debate. She says, all right, she starts doing. So Prabhupada makes the point that when one receives knowledge, one should receive knowledge. He says, with great faith, one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master. Take your time in deciding who your spiritual master will be. Spiritual master is more important commitment than even husband or wife. मैं बड़ा एकदम कंट्रोवर्शियल स्टेटमेंट मार रहा हूँ. मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बोला हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि जो पति या पत्नी चूज किया 7 जन्मों तक इनके साथ साथ रहे हैं. हाँ, इसका मैथमेटिक्स मेरे को कभी समझ में नहीं आया, बट कोई बात नहीं. तब हम लोग मान लेते 7 जन्मों तक इनके साथ साथ है. तो गुरु के साथ रिलेशनशिप व्हाई इज इट मोर इम्पोर्टेंट? हाँ, or yes, it can take us out of cycle of birth and death. That's why it is important. What else? Eternal. Every day हम लोग जो गुरु पूजा गाते हैं उसमें कहते हैं कि चक्षुदान दिलो जेई, जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से ही. ये हम लोग रोज, जो लोग हमारे इस्कॉन में गुरु पूजा अटेंड करते हैं वो ये सुनते हैं, कोई कोई गाते भी हैं, पर इसका मीनिंग कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है हम लोग ये. अगर इसी समय हम Prabhupada used to say, founder of ISKCON used to say, if you know who is sitting next to you, you will faint. और कभी कभी हम लोग को लगता है कि आदमी मेरा ये तो मेरा यार है यार क्या है, but you come to know really what this person is some great soul who has just come to this material world to finish off his material activities and go back to God. और हम लोग ये देखो ना प्रभु, that's it. We take for granted, but sometimes you really think that who is this soul is a great soul. No, we don't think. So same way, व्यवस्था है, मैं कहा क्या बोल रहा था? हाँ, तो गुरु का भी, if we think about what we are chanting, that चक्षुदान दिलो जे, जिन्होंने चक्षुदान दिया. चक्षुदान मतलब आई डोनेशन. चक्षुदान, कौन सा आईज? स्पिरिचुअल आईज. आर स्पिरिचुअल आईज आर completely shut. हम लोग खाली अपने भौतिक आंखों से दुनिया को देखते हैं, हम लोग अपने आध्यात्मिक आंख खोलते ही नहीं. एकदम कड़ा जैसे किसी बच्चे को जगाने जाओ ना सुबह, आंख खुलेगा ही नहीं वो, क्योंकि आंख खोला तो पापा का चेहरा देखना पड़ेगा ना कि चल चल बहुत हो गया, चल अभी उठ जा. आंखें की eyes very tightly closed. Spiritually that is our situation. हम लोग अंधे हैं, आध्यात्मिक स्तर पे हम लोग अंधे हैं. eyes are tightly closed. तो गुरु जो है वो हम लोग ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानांजन शलाकाय चक्षु उन्मीलितम येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. We are so grateful to Guru because he has, with torchlight of knowledge, torch light of knowledge, he has removed ajnan timirandhas, this darkness of ignorance he has removed. So therefore tasmai shri guruve, that's why I pay obeisance to this Guru. So Guru is Chakshudan Dilojevi, who is giving me this Chakshudan, spiritual eyes, Janme Janme Prabhu se. That means forever now. I'm so indebted to this person who has given me spiritual knowledge. Janme Janme Prabhu se. So ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है. See, at least if you see the proper Sanatan Dharma, the Vedic scriptures teach us that Guru and Shishya का relationship is eternal. ऐसा नहीं कि शिष्य, if he perfects, he or she perfects their life, they don't tell the Guru, Tata, चलो मैं जा रहा हूँ भगवत धाम, थैंक यू, आप बाकियों का तारण करो, मेरा हो गया, मैं जा रहा हूँ. No, the spiritual master is always the master, and and the disciple is always the servant. ये रिश्ता कभी नहीं बदलता, because that relationship is eternal of guru and shishya. So, with great faith, one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master, and with great faith, execute the performance of service. So, what Guru tells us, as I said, take your time to select who is your Guru. Bonafide Guru के अन्य बहुत सारे लक्षण होते हैं. There are many characteristics that a bona fide Guru has. परख के देख लो, जैसा आप सोना या चांदी या हीरे खरीदते हो तो परख के खरीदते हो ना, ऐसे नहीं है कि हाँ बता तेरा थोड़े हीरे दे दो भाई, ऐसा एक वेइंग मशीन में हीरे डाल के दे देते हैं, आप खरीदोगे नहीं ना उसको, परख के देखोगे. So when you are taking the most important decision of your life, that who is my guru, requires some due diligence. So do that due diligence, but once you have done it, उसके बाद गुरु जो बोलते हैं उसको क्वेश्चन मत करो. एक बार शिष्य बन गए, गुरु की शरण ले ली, once we take initiation from particular guru, there is no questioning, we accept whatever guru says. With great faith receive knowledge, and with great faith execute what guru has told you to do. There's a story in Srirangam. There was this brahmana, in Srirangam, and he was sitting and reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and when he was reading from Srimad Bhagavad, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, who came in the age of Kali, to teach us how to execute bhakti. Krishna has given the essence of bhakti in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam he has given, but how to practice? He himself cares to give practicals to all of us. So when he came to Srirangam, many of you would know, famous temple in South India, beautiful deity of the Lord Ranganath. So when he went there, he saw this Brahmana reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And when he was reading, other Brahmanas in the area were all laughing at him. So, and when they're laughing at him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went close to see. And he understood that because this Brahmana is not pronouncing the Bhagavad Gita shlokas properly, उच्चार में गलतियां हो रही थी, एक के पीछे एक, was making mistakes in pronouncing the verses of Bhagavad Gita. So all the other Brahmanas were laughing at him. कैसे बोल रहे हैं, बोलने को भी नहीं आता है. They all laughing at him. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Supreme Lord. He went close to this Brahmana and he saw him. And he said, oh Brahmana, you're reading this Bhagavad Gita so nicely. He says, but I noticed that you are crying. While you are reading, there are tears in your eyes. What is the reason behind this? Why are you crying? आप रो क्यों रहे? तो ब्राह्मण बताता है कि वो सन्यासी, actually my guru, he gave me instructions to read Bhagavad Gita every day. With faith, receive knowledge from spiritual master, and with great faith, execute the performance of service. My guru has given me instruction, you read Bhagavad Gita every day. Now, I am not a very, well-educated Brahmana. So, मुझे संस्कृत का इतना ज्ञान नहीं है. So, I am not able to read properly, and मेरा pronunciation सब गलत हो रहा है. उसीलिए ये लोग सब मेरे पे हंस रहे हैं. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, that's all right, but why are you crying? What is the reason for your tears in your eyes? So he says that actually, my Lord, he says actually, O Sannyasi, he says that when I pick up Bhagavad Gita to read, immediately an image comes before my eyes. मेरे आंखों के सामने एक तस्वीर आती है जिसमें मैं देखता हूँ, I see that Krishna, who is Sarva, is Jagannath, is the supreme personality of Godhead. Everything emanates from me. He is himself saying in Bhagavad Gita, everything emanates from me. But that person who is the source of all material and spiritual things, spiritual universes, that person, he is sitting in a chariot, and Arjun is sitting above him and kicking him. Take left, take right. Such a menial service the Supreme Lord is taking for his devotee. He has become Parthasarathy. So just by thinking of this, that how compassionate is Krishna, that he is willing to take such a menial service just for the pleasure of his devotee. Just by this thought, I can't stop my tears. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears this, he embraces it. This is wonderful. He says, you have actually understood Bhagavad Gita. These other Brahmanas who are very proud of their pronunciation, they haven't got the essence of Gita. So this is what it is, that what instructions if you receive from your guru, if you just follow, automatically all purports of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, everything will be revealed to you. You don't need to separately endeavor, just follow the instructions of guru. Then it is described, so she follows the instruction, and after many years, it is said that the Lord entered her body through the semen of Kardama. Now, Prabhupada comments on this also. Okay, he says we should not be bewildered by this point. That what is this? Lord is appearing like you and me through the semen of a man entering into the womb of a woman. How is this possible? So Prabhupada makes this point that don't be bewildered. The Lord can appear any way he wishes. Any way. He has said already, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. My birth and activities are transcendental. Don't try to measure them. अपना जो दिमाग का जो फुट पट्टी है उससे उसको measure मत करो. We can't understand the Lord's activities. And Prabhupada makes a powerful point. He says, if he can appear through a pillar as nothing there, he comes through a pillar. And it's a form which has never been seen before. Prahlad Maharaj, he is challenged by his father Hiranyakashipu that is your Vishnu in this pillar? And Prahlad Maharaj has so much faith. So yes, he is there in this pillar. So immediately Lord has to, in a rushed way, appear in that pillar. And he appears in the pillar in an appropriate way to meet the boon given by Brahma many years back. Half man, half lion. He comes as Narsimha. He can appear in a pillar as half man, half lion. He can appear through the nose of Brahma as Varadev. We have discussed in previous lectures. So why is it difficult for him to appear like this? Right? The Lord, Prabhupada makes the point, and in this particular verse it is mentioned, Bhagavan Madhusudana. Bhagavan Madhusudana, he appeared like this. So the Lord is always the Lord. It doesn't matter how he appears, don't be bewildered. The Shastra describes when, where, how the Lord will appear. We have to just accept. Okay. So then it is described that when the Lord appeared as Kapil Dev, the demigods, they were flying freely in the sky, they sounded musical instruments, they showered flowers on the earth. The Gandharvas sang the glories of the Lord. And then Brahma, who is the father of Kardama Muni, the grandfather, so to say. Right? So Brahma, he visits the hermitage of Kardama along with Marichi and the other, the 9 sages, the 9 important sages. All of them come along with Brahma to the ashram of Kardama Muni. And Brahma already knows, he already knows that an amsha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, amsha means portion, a partial expansion of the Lord has appeared in the womb of Devahuti. Why? To explain the Sankhya Yoga process of knowledge. So the Sankhya Yoga is what will be discussed in subsequent chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We may not cover in too much detail, we will go a little upper say, but important points we will touch. But he is going to come to the Brahma already knows. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, the same verse we were discussing. Sarvatya chaha mriti sanivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15 that he is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. Similarly, the compiler of this Sankhya philosophy, Kapila Dev, is going to come in this incarnation. Brahma already knows. How he knows? How does Brahma already know this? Because Brahma, it is described, he is also Swarat. In this particular verse, Brahma is called Swarat. Swarat means what? Independent. His knowledge is not based like our knowledge कि आप कौन से कॉलेज में गए थे, आपने इंजीनियरिंग कहाँ से किया था, आपने एमबीए किधर से किया था, आपने यूपीएससी कहाँ से किया था. His knowledge he received from within his heart. The Lord revealed all knowledge to him within his heart. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye. So the Supreme Lord revealed the message of creation in his heart. So everything is already present in the knowledge that Brahma has. So he already knows. So now it is already 7:30. So shall we continue for a few moments? Okay. So Brahma, he worships the Lord with glad senses and a pure heart. So it is described that Brahma immediately recognizes when the Supreme Lord appears. So he worships the Lord in the womb of the mother. He worships her and he also praises the Father. See, we have to understand that if someone is, as they say, the tree can be understood from the fruit. So if the fruit or the child is the Supreme Lord, you have to understand that the tree must be something very great. If Supreme Lord has incarnated in the family of somebody, you have to understand that family must be very great. So, so he praises Kardama also. Since the Lord appeared as a son. And Prabhupada quotes one beautiful thing over here. I don't have that reference, but a very nice thing he says in the purport I just read. He says there's a verse spoken by a Brahmana. एक Brahman वाला एक beautiful verse है, in which he says, I do not know, this Brahmana is saying, I do not know what these Vedas and the Puranas are. Why others may be interested in Vedas and Puranas, which is the body of knowledge given by the Supreme Lord only. Others may be interested in Vedas and Puranas, but I am interested in Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj, the father of Krishna, right? In Vrindavan, he says, I am interested in Nanda Maharaj, who appeared as the father of Krishna. Why he wants to worship Nanda Maharaj? He says, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a child is crawling in the backyard of his house. So अगर भगवान स्वयं भगवान एक बच्चे का रूप धारण करके किसी के घर में बच्चे जैसा रेंग रहा है, भगवान स्वयं भगवान, who is the source of all material spiritual world, who is source of all of us, he is just roaming around in the backyard of this Nanda Maharaj. How great is this Nanda Maharaj? तो ये वेद पुराण मत बताओ, मुझे नंद महाराज से भेंट कराओ. I want to meet this pure devotee. So this is the consciousness. He is giving his lecture from there. पीछे पे उसका भी चल रहा है. ध्रुव उवाच. Right? So like that. It's very beautiful. So Brahma, he worships the Lord like that. And then the last point of this today's lecture, last 2 points of this today's lecture, Brahma appreciates Kardama Muni for having accepted his instructions without duplicity, with proper respect. And he says that since you followed my instructions, you have honored me. So very interesting point over here. He says, see, sometimes we are quick to give instructions to people in our workplaces, in our homes. बच्चे को बोलते हैं, हे चुपचाप उठ, स्नान कर, दांत ब्रश कर, आजा, नाश्ता कर, अभी जा, पढ़ाई कर, ये कर, वो कर. We are constantly giving instructions to our children. or to our dependents. In our office, we are giving instructions. कल तक रिपोर्ट चाहिए 9 बजे के पहले. क्या समझ में आया? 9 बजे के पहले रिपोर्ट चाहिए. रिपोर्ट में लास्ट टाइम ये डेटा नहीं था, अभी ये चाहिए. ये करो, वो करो, ये करो, वो करो. Giving instructions all the time. When someone does it, बराबर ढंग से, ओके 9 बजे के पहले रिपोर्ट उसके टेबल पे रख दिया या ईमेल कर दिया, हम लोग अप्रिशिएट करते हैं. See how our natures are. We are so nasty by nature. It's very unfortunate. We are so nasty. We are very quick to criticize. तेरे को बोला था 10 बार समझाया, ये रिपोर्ट में ये डेटा होना चाहिए, ये तू भेज नहीं पाया. इतनी बार समझाने के बाद तेरे को नहीं हुआ करने को. मतलब एक लाइन मिस हो गया रहेगा उसमें, और 900 लाइन है उसका अप्रिसिएशन नहीं. तो एक लाइन जो मिस हो गया, हम लोग वही पकड़ के हम लोग उसी को क्रिटिसाइज करते. बट हियर Brahma, first he appreciates Kardama Muni. He said, "You accepted my instruction." What is the instruction? Kardama Muni is a Prajapati. He's been given the service of producing children. That is the service he has been given. So he has produced 9 daughters, and now one more son also has been produced. And that son is the Supreme Lord. So Brahma knows that this person has overachieved. मतलब जो दिया था उससे ज़्यादा ही कर दिया है इसने. Like that. So, Prabhupada says that Kardam Muni, he carried out the instructions of Brahma in toto without cheating. Toto means what? 100%. हम लोग को जब कोई बोलता है ना instructions, कोई भी, suppose someone tells us that we must all chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, so all follow 16 rounds of chant Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds every day. Attentively. We will chant 16 rounds, but not attentively. Attentively बड़ा कठिन है प्रभु जी. कल पॉसिबल है ये तो मुश्किल हमसे. We tend to हम वो नजरअंदाज करते हैं कि ये प्रैक्टिकली हो ही नहीं सकता, किसी का नहीं हो रहा है. आपका हो रहा है क्या? आपका हो रहा है क्या? माता जी आप कर रहे हैं, प्रभु जी आप कर रहे हैं. हम लोग मतलब we become very aggressive, you know, to prove our point. कि किसी का नहीं हो रहा है तो मैं भी नहीं करेगा. Ridiculous. The point that he is making over here, without cheating, you follow everything. I will follow, okay, 16 rounds I will do, but not attentively. I will do attentively 16 rounds, but for recollective principle, ये तो नहीं हो पाया. चलो वो भी कर लेंगे. हम चाय नहीं छोड़ सकते. बस आप जान छोड़ने को बोलो, चाय नहीं छोड़ सकता है. और यार इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया है उसको इन टोटो फॉलो करना. एंड देन वी वंडर कि अरे कुछ इतने साल से जपा कर रहे हैं, हमारा कुछ शुद्धिकरण तो नहीं हुआ. आई डोंट एक्सपीरियंस कृष्णा ने बोले. अरे हाउ विल एक्सपीरियंस? हम लोग ही पकड़ के रखे हैं हृदय ग्रंथि. एंड वी आर नॉट विलिंग टू गिव अप दोस हृदय ग्रंथि. वी आर नॉट अलाउइंग. वो साधु कैंची लेके पास में आता है तो दूर मत काटो इसे, ये मेरी जान से भी प्यारा है. We don't want him to cut the knots. We don't want. That is our unfortunate situation. So, what can we learn from this? That if Guru gives us instructions, as in the very next verse, in the next verse, it is said, sons ought to render. So Brahma is telling this to his son, to Kardama Muni. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. To their father and to their guru, exactly to this. And in the wording, one should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, means with due respect, saying, yes, sir. Discipline. You know, जैसे army, anyone connected army, yes, our Jadigal Togo is off and on connected. But you know, it's like army से जो व्यक्ति connected है, वो disciplined रहता है. उसका कंसेप्ट ही नहीं है. इफ एन ऑर्डर इज गिवन देयर इज नो कंसेप्ट दैट नहीं नहीं ये आप किसी और को बोल सकते हो क्या, या इसमें थोड़ा कुछ मॉडिफिकेशन हो सकता है, हम लोग एडजस्ट कर लेते. कंसेप्ट ही नहीं है. देयर इज ओनली यस सर इट विल बी डन. देयर इज नो नेगोशिएशन. So that is what Brahma is saying, that one should obey the command of father or spiritual master like this, with due deference, respect, saying yes sir. Why is that? Because the command of the spiritual master Guru is as good as receiving instructions from Krishna directly. If Guru tells you do this, you do it because he has no vested interest in telling you what he's telling. He is your well-wisher. So he tells you do this, you just do it. You know, must be carried out without hesitation. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I'll end with this. He is one of the acharyas in our parampara. He has stated that the order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciple. It is so important. If गुरु ने हमको कुछ आज्ञा दिया है, वो मेरी जान के जैसा होना चाहिए कि नहीं मैं मर जाऊंगा लेकिन ये इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं छोड़ूंगा. It's a very high standard. I am not saying that all of us should follow it from day one, and not to say that I am following. None of us are following 100%. We know where we stand, but we should at least know where we have to reach. No, this is the standard. Spiritual life. This is the standard that the order of spiritual master is life and soul. As a man, these are Prabhupada's words, as a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. अगर गुरु ने हमको कुछ आज्ञा दिया है, वो हमारी जान है वो. And to the extent, if a disciple follows the instruction of spiritual master in this way, he is sure to become perfect. The Bhagavad is full of examples of this. Like Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj, when he was instructed by Narad Muni that you do this, no questions, he just did it. His life was perfect. We have hundreds of examples of people in the scriptures who simply followed the instructions given by Guru and perfected their life. What is the lesson for us? In our day-to-day Bombay, SPCL, BPCL, Tata Power, RCF life, right? All of you are from all these different colonies. Maybe some from outside as well. I am an outsider. The lesson for us is first understand what does Guru want. What does Guru want? मुझसे क्या उम्मीद है? ये कैसे समझेगा? उसके लिए पहले गुरु चाहिए. We need to find a bona fide Guru. First, identify who is your bona fide Guru. तद विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेशन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानेन तत्त्वदर्शिनः. Now that you have identified the Guru, शरण में जाओ. Take shelter. Take your time to identify. Once you identify, take shelter. Taking shelter means what? Serving. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Ask questions, serve the Guru. When he is pleased with your service, he will impart you the spiritual knowledge that will open your closed eyes. He will cut the knots. He will give you the clarity. He will give you the conviction about following the spiritual path. That is why Guru is so important. And if we follow the instructions of such a bona fide Guru, our life, Prabhupada is saying, is sure to become perfect. I will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudev ki, that is why we say every time, every lecture, every kirtan, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, because they have given us. हम कौन से कोई विशारद पाठ करके fools of the first order, fools, but somehow because we are connected with this parampara, that is why we can speak with authority. Otherwise कहाँ से आएगा ये authority? We don't have the intelligence, we don't have the capacity to follow, to understand anything. Because we are connected with Guru, we can share. That's why Tasmai Shri Guru. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So, any questions, comments, anybody? Just one we'll take. Already late. सॉरी वी वेंट ओवर टाइम, पर आज बड़ा एंथु आया, इतना भीड़ देख के, इतने लोग आए हैं, सो नाइस, थैंक यू सो मच एवरीबॉडी वंस फॉर कमिंग. एनी क्वेश्चंस और कमेंट्स? यस यस. um yeah. um, it's like this, okay. You said that it's not that we don't want to due to time constraints. uh, if you honestly want to, you will find. See, our problem is we don't put priority on these. हमको लगता है ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. जब हम इनिशिएशन लेते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल फॉर दोज ऑफ अस हु टेकन इनिशिएशन, दीक्षा लेते टाइम व्हाट vow do we take? I will chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra attentively. I will follow four regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. And I will try to serve sincerely in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. This is what we say. So ये तीन चीज हम लोग ढंग से करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि अग्नि के सामने, ड्यूटीज के सामने, इतने वैष्णव के सामने, गुरु के सामने, ऑस्पिशियस डे के दिन हम लोग ने ये भाव लिया. तो ये इसमें हम लोग कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करें. We do. Where did I vow that I will read Prabhupada's book? तो हमने नहीं बोला था. So therefore we don't make it a priority. It's as simple as that. See, if we know that this is the, ये चलता है, नहीं किया तो भी चलता है. देखो ना, 20 साल हो गए भक्ति में, गाड़ी तो चल रही है. क्या हुआ? देखो जपमाला अभी भी हाथ में है, अभी भी घंटी माला है, तिलक है. लोग देख के मुझे वांछा कल्पतरु, they come into obeisances when they see me. Don't you see all that? Just by reading books क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So we tend to make mental compromises. But once we decide, chalo, I don't have time today, is a really busy day. If it is really a busy day, Krishna is not sitting like an accountant. Hey, आज का दिन तेरा ready नहीं हुआ, आपने को नहीं जमा भाई. God is not like that. He's not an accountant. The genuine reason he understands. But our problem is, even when there isn't a genuine reason, we justify. अरे बहुत बिजी चल रहा है आजकल, भगवान भी समझ जाएंगे, चल रहा है. But we find time to eat. Eating छोड़ो, we find time to be on WhatsApp. We find time to, look at movies, serials, binge watch. लोग को सब चीज के लिए टाइम है, लेकिन tell them chant Hare Krishna. मेरे कहाँ टाइम है? तो Prabhupada used to say, you tell a person chant, chant, chant. The response is can't. मतलब आदमी को जाके बोलो, ऐसे मॉल में जाओ, भाई साहब एक सेकंड, भाई साहब क्या है, हरे कृष्णा बोलो. मैं क्यों बोलूं? तुम बोलो. मैं तो बोल ही रहा हूँ, आप भी बोलो. नहीं, मैं क्यों बोलूं? We are like that. Unless you make it a priority, nothing happens. If you want to become an athlete, you have to sacrifice other things. Then only you can become an athlete. We have to prioritize things. If you prioritize, everything is possible. Everything. I am telling you, there are people, like there is one devotee called Devahuti Prabhu in Singapore. Some of you might have heard about him. Devahuti Prabhu. This Devahuti Prabhu, he's a lawyer. He's like a high court lawyer over there in Singapore. Okay. He every day gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 बजे उठते हैं, 4:30 बजे तक मंगल आरती स्टार्ट होता है. 4:30 to 5:35, 5:15 is मंगल आरती. After that, 5:15 to 7 o'clock, he finishes his rounds. 7 o'clock to 7:30, he takes rest for half an hour. 7:30 he gets up, he exercises for half an hour. Then after that, 8 o'clock he starts reading Srimad Bhagavatam. He reads for about half an hour, 45 minutes. While taking bath, he has these cards. He makes these cards. Any nice verse that he likes, he writes down the verse, and while taking bath, he keeps repeating that verse. तो वो verse memorize हो जाता है. Okay, ये हो गया. He takes breakfast, he leaves for his sport. He goes. He comes back in the evening. He gives classes in every day of the week. He gives classes. तो lecture के लिए prepare करते हैं, जाते हैं lecture के लिए. Plus, he is responsible. He's like a GBC member of that zone, Singapore. Plus, he has helped build temples in Gujarat for his Guru Maharaj, Mahavishnu Swami, in Rajkot, in Dwarka. The temples that have been built by ISKCON there, he has contributed not just by money. He has gone there and supervised that. He has some cheese. Plus, he has 2 children. Plus, he is a leader of the congregation there. All this one person is doing. He has finished reading Srimad Bhagavatam 13 times. Bhagavatam, not Gita. 13 times. जो प्रायोरिटी बनाते हैं सब हो जाए. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच. हरे कृष्ण. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री गुरुदेव की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी. हरि हरि बोल. We will do kirtan now for 5-10 minutes. Request everyone to participate with enthusiasm. Don't be like that person. मैं क्यों बोलूं? No, सब लोग बोलो. Everyone enthusiastically take part in the kirtan.